Today we're going to talk about rational numbers. Rational numbers are all types of numbers. There's negative, positive, fractions, decimals, and whole numbers. In your journal, we are going to be on page 2. You should be able to find this circle foldable. It's rational numbers, integers, whole numbers, counting, and natural numbers. They are overlapping circles, and we're going to look at the definitions of each one of them. If we take a look at this first one, counting or natural numbers, the most important thing is that it's only positive numbers. Only positive, and they have to be whole numbers. Ooh, I should probably not do, I should go back to highlighter. Only positive, whole numbers starting with 1. So this one does not include 0. Not 0. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything past that. I'm going to add a few things, and you guys add this on your notes as well. I'm going to zoom in. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, but make sure that you say not 0, looking at this one. The next number on the foldable is whole numbers. Whole numbers are also only positive, but the important thing to look at on this one is it does include 0. Yes, 0 is included. If I added numbers to this one, I would say 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then keep going. Okay, next category is called integers. This one has positive. It also has negative, but it's only whole numbers. This says no decimals, but I also want to put in here no proper fractions. Now, I could have improper fractions sometimes, but not a regular proper fraction. If I add numbers to this one, I have lots and lots of negatives, and then -3, -2, -1, 0, +1, +2, +3, and then they could keep going. But remember, only whole numbers. And the largest category of numbers that we have that we're going to sort through today is called rational numbers. It can be positive, it can be negative. We can have whole numbers, we can have fractions, and we can have decimals. The two types of decimals that we are going to be including, a repeating decimal or a terminating decimal. There is another type, but we're not going to look at it right now. So this is pretty much all types of numbers. I'm going to include that on here. All types of numbers, and I'm going to use the number sign. Okay, so now that we know the definition, I'm going to look at a couple examples with you guys. Some examples on this one, I could have 0.75, I could have 1/4, I could have -7, I could have 252.8, all kinds of numbers. I can have negative fractions, -3/4. I can have negative decimals, -1.5. Endless amounts of numbers in the rational category. So looking at these, I have 0.25. I'm going to move this over to here. Is this a rational number? Well, I can look on my foldable, and on rational numbers, it does say it can have a decimal. So this would be a rational number. If I come over to this one, integers says no decimals. So 0.25 it would only be a rational number so far. If you look at whole numbers, it cannot be a whole number. Counting numbers cannot be a counting number. So this one, a decimal, is only a rational. Now, 47. 47 is a positive whole number, so that fits. 47, if I move it over to here, in the integer category, it says I can still have positive whole numbers. Okay, so that fits again. If I move it down to whole numbers, positive whole numbers starting with 0, it fits. And if I look at counting numbers, this says positive whole numbers bigger than 1. So this one fits all the categories. All the categories. Not just, but all of them. Okay, negative 106.50. If I start over here with the biggest category, this one fits every single number. They can be positive, negative, whole numbers, fractions, or decimals. This one is a decimal and it is negative, so that's okay. When you move to integers, it says it could be positive or negative, so that part's okay, but it says no decimals. So negative 106.50 is only a rational number. 3/4, again, rational numbers can have fractions, so that's okay. If I go to the next category, integers say whole numbers only. So that's as far as I could go. A fraction can only be a rational number. -6, it is a whole number and it's negative. So the category says it could be either one of those, so that works. If I move to integer, it says whole numbers only, so that's okay, and it says positive or negative, so that still fits as well. So this one still works in an integer. When I bring it down to whole numbers, this says only positive, so now this won't work anymore. So -6 is a rational number, and it's also an integer. 0.25, that was already up at the top, so I'm not sure why that's on there again. But that's how you classify. Start with the biggest category because all the numbers we're going to work with fit there. And then after that, you would go down to the next circle and ask yourself, does it still fit this category? If you have any fractions or decimals, you're only going to be going in rational category. Fractions and decimals, this is the only one it fits unless it was an improper fraction that could simplify.